Hi there. I am so thrilled to be here and to share with you how to master your mindset daily in a way that changes your circumstances without actually changing your circumstances so you can stop sabotaging your health and wellness. Today, I'm going to teach you a technique I personally use each and every day, as well as teach to my private clients so that they can be an expert in practicing a new thought life also. It is called the self coaching model. I did not create this, by the way. The self coaching model is something you can apply in your life each and every day to actually change any thought, feeling, or result that you desire. Mastering your mindset will allow you to reach goals, overcome anxiety, lessen your overwhelm, and stop sabotaging your life, especially your health and wellness. Because the truth is this: how we show up in one area of life is how we show up in every area of life, right? You see it happen day after day. Your morning goes off the rails, so does your eating plan for the day. Your marriage is struggling, so you just throw in the towel and eat whatever you want. You get into an argument with your mother in law and you just decide to veg on the couch instead of that workout you said you would do. One area of life gets challenged, so we fail to show up in all the other areas too. And we change that by changing our thought life. We have so much to cover. So before we go on, let me give you a little background into who I am as a life coach. I am Amberly Devers. I'm a certified life coach through the Life Coach School. I'm a faster way to fat loss coach and a mom of five. I am also the wife to my number one supporter, Bray. I am also a grateful believer, but no matter how much I prayed, and no matter how much scripture I memorized, and no matter how many personal growth and development books I read, I simply could not stop the toll anxiety, stress, and overwhelm had not only on me, but my family and everyone around me. I had 5 kids in 7 years. Well, I technically had four because our fifth child is adopted, but I was bedridden with anxiety and depression for almost a decade of my motherhood journey because I simply couldn't meet the expectations that I had placed on myself as a mom. And here is the kicker: no one knew. No one knew. I was very outgoing, doing all the things, being all the things, and then I would get home and simply collapse. I was completely miserable and didn't know how to enjoy the life I had prayed to have, much less the parts I hadn't. And we all have personal hardships, right? So, how do we handle it? How do we show up as the person worth putting out into the world? I'm getting way ahead of myself, but for now, I just want you to know that if I can sit here before you completely transformed from a life of emotional and mental defeat, running 2 businesses, all the sports for 5 kids, and just life, then anyone can. And more than that, I want you to know that I will 100% support you and believe in you until you do. And if you're not following me on social media, Instagram, I encourage you to go there because I offer so many tips and many trainings each and every week for free. So here's the thing: there's nothing any more special about me than there is about you. I promise you, anything is possible for you. And so I hope even this training will serve as a turning point for you in your life toward what is possible. So you show up as the highest version of yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, that you were created to be. And here's the deal: we all have a bunch of circumstances in our lives, right? Situations, people, events, our past, what someone said or didn't say or did or didn't do that we think is the problem. And that is making us angry or anxious or overwhelmed. And dare I say, miserable. But do you want to know what is actually the problem? The problem is what we think about those things. Let's dig in. So, the model that I'm going to teach you, the self coaching model, is a way to take any thought, any feeling that you are experiencing, any situation that is problematic, and create an entirely different result. Now, disclaimer: the situation may not actually change at all, but when you do this work, the situation will change to you, and you will change in spite of the situation for the better because you're going to see it differently. You're going to feel it differently, And in turn, you're going to show up differently. So I want you just to think here for a minute as I list off some things to you. I may be listing a thought, I might be listing a feeling, a situation, an event, a result, whatever it might be. And as I go down this list, I just kind of want you to be thinking, is what she's saying true? Is this an actual fact? Is this an opinion? Is this a feeling? Is this an action, an inaction? What is she talking about? Okay. So here's the list. I hate my job. My husband left me. My adult child makes me mad. My boss is disrespectful. I'm in debt. I'll never have enough. I'll never be enough. I can't leave my job. There is not enough time. I'm too busy. I have so much to do. I want a new job. I weigh 300 pounds. I hate my body. I'm so sad. I'm depressed. I want to lose 50 pounds. I want to stop overeating. I want to eliminate my debt. I need to find a job. I feel fat. My son is failing math. I lost my job. I can't keep doing this. I feel stupid. He hurt me. I hate her. I'm 50 years old. She doesn't like me. She is so exclusive. I feel like a failure. I've had a hard life. I overspend. I can't save money. I'm losing my house. My kids are mad at me. I'm mad at my kids. I'm frustrated with myself. Now, if you were like me before I learned how to do the work I'm about to show you and start practicing it, then I would have said to you that everything I just mentioned is actually a reason for people to feel the way they feel, think the way they think, and act the way they act, right? Because we can justify our feelings and our behaviors anytime we want. And most of the things that I did mention are pretty terrible, right? But I'm here to coach you and teach you that in order to renew our minds and thrive in spite of the things that are going on in our lives, is to look at the circumstances and the situations in and around us differently. So, are you ready for that? Here's the deal: we do not renew or transform our lives without doing so with our minds first. In order to reach our goals, we don't get there by thinking the same things, feeling the same things, and believing the same things we always have. We thrive by recognizing that all of our circumstances are actually neutral. They don't become something or mean anything until we attach our thoughts, which are actually just an opinion, to them. Our thoughts determine our feelings, and our feelings determine our actions, and our actions and our inactions determine our results of who and how we show up to our daily life. I know that was a lot to bear, so bear with me. If you've ever actually looked up the definition of insanity, insanity is doing the same things over and over and expecting different results. So just go ahead and let that sink in for a moment. For the most part, we are all insane unless we take steps to deliberately do something differently. And might I offer, until we begin to think differently. We continually, as humans, do the same things over and over and expect different results. When I mentioned this sentence above just a few minutes ago, and I said, I can't keep doing this. Some of you may have thought, well, that's the truth. I can't keep doing this either. And believe that to be true in your own life. And we've all thought this before, right? We start something hard, we do a new challenge, we get a new job, we get a puppy, whatever the case may be. And we think, oh my gosh, I cannot keep doing this. But most likely, we have just believed it like it was the front page news, like it was a fact that would hold up in the court of law, and it simply won't. To me, when I was in the throes of depression and anxiety, I believed it to be true. I simply believed I can't keep doing this. I also believed I don't have what it takes. I also believed I'm not good at this motherhood thing. And because I believed I can't keep doing this, I actually didn't do anything because I felt defeated. And so I stayed in bed. I didn't go see people. And I believed that to be a circumstance in my life, and that everyone could look at it and say, oh, it's true. She can't keep doing this. All those babies and toddlers and back to back diapers and stuff. whatever. I believed it and I wanted everyone around me to believe it too. I wanted them to see how hard life was for me. And I didn't see how to change it. But all those things I was thinking about my life, my daily life, like the regular mundane life, is I can't keep doing this. And that is simply a thought that we have toward many situations. And that situation was actually neutral. So, what if we actually believed the opposite to be true? What if we showed up to our lives like we actually did have what it took? On a different circumstance, like the one a recent client of mine is facing with her spouse who has left the home, another client who's leaving her career, there is definitely the thought of, I can't do this. And as I mentioned to you, there are about this self-coaching model I'm about to go into and explain further because there are five components to our self-coaching model. And you can reference this on your sheet that I provided. First and foremost, we have our circumstance. We'll refer to that as our C. And then we have our T, the thought. And then we have our F, our feeling. Then we have our A, our action. It's also an inaction. And then we have our R, which is our result. And this is something we can apply to every aspect of our lives: health and wellness goals, personal situations that we don't want to tell anyone about, career changes, parenting, marriage. I mean, it's simply endless. And so, to further explain this process, so you can begin using this in your daily life, I'm going to take a recent client's situation and I'm going to break it down to you in the way that I just explained with the C, the T, the F, the A, and the R. Okay. So I had a client come to me and she said she just feels completely overwhelmed. The situation is she's in the midst of leaving her career because she's making like bukus of dollars, but is working 60 to 80 hours per week, never sees her family, can't stick to her eating and exercise plan, and basically just feels like her life is in a downward spiral with no light at the end of the tunnel. And this is very common for all of us in different situations, right? Because how we show up in one area of life is how we show up in most areas of life. So, as you'll see in a minute, because she's overwhelmed with her job, right? She feels overwhelmed. The circumstance is her job, and her thought is simply, what would I say her thought was? I can't keep doing this, right? And so we start talking about it a little more. And so I asked her, I said, well, what are you doing? Because you have the thought, like, I can't keep, or I can't do this. And she said, well, I don't stick to my fitness and nutrition plan, which adds further frustration to myself. And then I asked her some more. I said, okay, so when you have the thought, I don't know how to not work, I don't know how to stay home, I don't know how to actually turn in my resignation, I don't know what to do if I'm not working. How does that make you feel? Right? She said, well, I work. Oh, she said she feels overwhelmed. And then she said, because she feels overwhelmed, she works after the kids are in bed, even though she said she wouldn't. She does nothing on the weekends. She snaps. She's harsh to everyone around her. She eats off of her plan. She beats herself up. Then she overeats. Then she cries. She raises her voice. And essentially, she doesn't take care of herself mentally, emotionally, or physically. And so I said, well, the result of that is simply that you don't actually do what it takes, right? Another thought that she had was that I don't take the time to focus or enjoy. I don't know how to focus or enjoy anything else. And so when you have feelings like that and you do actions like that, you're basically proving, yes, you're not taking the time to focus on or enjoy anything else in your life. So if you notice, there is a direct correlation because of how we think is how we feel, how we act or don't act, and how we show up. Because she thinks she doesn't know how to focus on anything else or enjoy life and doesn't have what it takes, she actually doesn't. It's not her job that makes her not know how to enjoy anything. It's the thought, I don't know how to focus on anything else or enjoy my life. And that causes her to feel overwhelmed and not take the actions and or the inactions necessary to enjoy life. It's not the job that's the problem. It's the thought about it. So, what we have here is a natural course that our brains will lead us down when we don't intercept that thought, problem, and change it. We shift it. So in my line of work, we refer to this as our primitive thinking. So then I asked her, well, what would you be doing like if you were enjoying your life or focusing on something else? How would you implement simple wellness steps to stop sabotaging these things that you want to do and you can't? How would you get back on track? How would you put some boundaries around your time that you're willing to spend after your work day is over? Right. And she said, well, I would put my laptop on the charger by 7 p.m. And I would keep my meals simple. I'm trying to overcomplicate things. And she said she would keep things in her home that are on that plan. She said she would schedule some time to go out and enjoy something on the weekend. And throughout the week, she would take a hot bath. She would read a fiction book. And that she would tell her team that her phone's going to be on silent from 8 p.m. until 8 a.m. And that she was going to try to walk 30 minutes a day and drink 64 ounces of water. And I said, well, if you did that, like, what would that feel like? And she said, well, it would feel like peace, like relief. And I said, well, if you were feeling peace and relief and you were doing all these things you just told me, what would you think about that? And she said, well, I would think I have what it takes to enjoy my life and take care of myself. And I said, exactly. And the fact of the matter is, you do. You're just allowing yourself to stay in that primitive thinking that's actually leading you to feel the way you do and show up the way you do or don't, right? So if you notice, when we just shift that thought, we actually do know how we want to show up. We just have to think differently so we can feel differently in order to do so. And the direct result of that is that she takes care of herself and enjoys her life and stop sacrificing her life and boundaries for the person that she's working for. Isn't that mind blowing? Pun intended. And now I'm going to teach you how to do this for an area or a thought or a feeling in your life too. Okay. So, what I will recommend doing, and just kind of listen for a second, and then I'll kind of walk you through the sheet I provided. But I recommend doing a feeling or thought download each and every day. Sometimes I do this several times throughout the day, right? Because some days there's a lot more going on logistically than usual. And so it's very important to do what I call keeping your brain clean. I do this every morning when I wake up. Because I feel like I wake up and forget that, like yesterday, I did have what it took to live my life. But for today, for some reason, I've forgotten all the promises for freedom that exist and are available to our hearts and our minds each and every morning. So sometimes I will wake up angry about something, or anxious, or overwhelmed, or like frustrated. And so I will just list that out. Like, what are the things that I'm thinking and are feeling so frustrated about? And sometimes I don't even know the situation or the thought that makes me feel angry or overwhelmed or anxious. So I'll just simply do a feeling download, and that can be just as helpful. So, anyway, so one of the ones that I recently a model I recently did for myself was last week. I woke up angry, and I woke up frustrated, and I woke up disappointed. I know, right? What kind of life coach am I? So, a life coach is not someone that doesn't experience negative feelings. A life coach is someone that knows how to walk through it and teach others to do the same. So, from there, I had to figure out, okay, why do I feel angry? Why do I feel overwhelmed? Why do I feel disappointed? Why do I feel whatever it was? And so I realized, I said, okay, I feel angry because I'm like, people are clueless. That's why. That was my thought. I felt frustrated. And the thought from that was, how has it come to this? And then I felt disappointed. And my thought was, what is wrong with people? Right. And so I went through and I was like, okay, well, why am I thinking that way? Why am I feeling that way? Like, what is the situation that's causing that? And I know the situation doesn't cause it. My thought does. But the situation was basically like the world right now. Okay. It makes me feel angry and frustrated and disappointed. And I'm sure you feel that way as well. So I documented which feeling, because you can only do one feeling or one thought at a time when you do the self coaching. So I was like, okay, so my circumstance here is people, the world right now. And my thought is they are clueless. And so I feel angry. And so here are the actions I took and the inactions from feeling angry about thinking people are clueless in the world right now. So the actions I took were I gathered more info, right? Like information overload, consume, consume, consume. Spent too much time on Instagram on accounts that made me feel terrible. I judged people. I like mentally defended myself to no one who's asking. I got defensive to no one I'm actually talking to. And then I didn't do what I needed to do to protect my peace. Okay. And so the direct result of the thought, people are clueless. Okay. I think this. I'm the one that feels angry. I'm the one that does all that, those miserable things to myself. And the result was I was acting clueless. And I was acting clueless because I actually do know how to protect my peace. Okay. And I was choosing not to from the feeling of anger. And so I'm like, okay, I know a very, very important thing to do is called lowering our cognitive loads. For example, I have, I don't know, roughly 6,000 followers on Instagram, but I only follow 300 to 400 people at a time, right? Right now, I've incorporated more barn dominium accounts that I'm learning about right now as we are in the process of doing that, depending on when you're watching this. But it is too much to process all the time, all that information. So I actually will encourage you, just like I do my clients, I want you to unfollow or mute as many social media accounts as you can in an effort to protect your peace. You're absorbing too much information, and that's actually preventing you from showing up as the person you want to be because you're not protecting your peace. So I can take that same situation, the world and the people in it, and I can change my thought, right? I can actually live a life of peace, ease, and calm in this world. That's my thought. And so the feeling I have is unwavering. Okay. And when I feel like I'm unwavering, I'm sticking to a peaceful mind and a peaceful heart, I actually take the actions necessary to do that. By the way, it doesn't happen on its own. You're going to have to put forth that and take those steps and that effort. So, what I do, the actions I take are I lower my cognitive load with what I allow myself to see and consume on social media. I love others in kindness, and I stay focused on what is best for my family and myself as it relates to a life of mental and emotional peace. And the result of that is I live life peacefully. So, I'm here today just to encourage you that you do have what it takes to live your life. You are not stuck, and anything is possible for you. And the way to work toward that end is possibly doing this self coaching model and technique that I am showing you. And as you allow yourself the opportunity, I've been talking a lot, to change your thoughts and feelings so you stop feeling miserable and sabotaging your life and your health and your wellness journey. And I would love to help you as you do this work. So after I go through how to do this, I would love for you to send me a snapshot. And I'm providing you a template and print that out once, practice on it, and then I simply take, I don't have it open, but I simply do my what I'm about to show you on just a piece of paper each and every day. I have like little pieces of paper all around the house, like a receipt if I'm doing this thought and feeling download and working the model on it. So do it wherever you want. You don't have to like print this out every single day and do it there. Okay. But I would love for you just to send me a model you practice and how differently you feel and think when you shift that thought about your circumstance and let me know that it's helpful. Okay. So, oh, and on Instagram, I'm just simply Amberly Devers. So AMBERLYDEAVOURS. Now, before I let you loose on this, I just want to go over once again how you can coach yourself through anything the way I just explained. And I'm going to show you the template that you can use. So just let me share my screen here, get this pulled up. Hold on, I'm so sorry. Okay, here we are. So, this is called self coaching, and this is the deliberate thinking to set your heart and mind straight. Okay. So, like I said, every morning or throughout the day, I'll do a feeling or a thought download. Sometimes you may know that you're angry at your boss, or you are frustrated with a financial situation. So you may start with your thought or you may start with your feeling. Totally up to you, either way, however you do it, right? So, oh, I should have thought about doing this differently. Oh, well, okay. So maybe over here on the left hand side, like I told you the other day, I woke up and felt angry. So I wrote angry on this line. And then I just kind of listed out all of my emotions. I would just say don't go more than five because you're only going to work one at a time. So I put angry on this line, I put frustrated, I put overwhelmed, I put disappointed, and I put sad. And I won't go into all the reasons I was working this out, but I'll just share with you the one I said where I was angry. So I put the feeling over here, and over here I wrote, like, just briefly the thought that made me feel angry, which was people are clueless. Okay. And then I felt frustrated, and I put on that thought I had was, I can't remember exactly what it has, but anyway, so you can, or I can put over here in this line, I can start with my thought first, which was people are clueless. And then the feeling I would put over here, angry. See, so you can kind of do whatever works best for you there. And then down here, I just wanted to remind you of the C stands for circumstance, and we only can pick one at a time. The T stands for thought, the F stands for feeling, the A stands for actions, and these are also, remember, are your inactions, and you will list a fair number of those. You want to say what you are doing because you feel that way and what you're not doing. And you may want to go back and listen to this. It'll make more sense now that we've kind of gone through the template here. And then the result. How is that thought, feeling, and action leading you to show up in ways that like are making you and the people around you miserable? So, like I said, that's just kind of a little reminder. And then down here is where you can actually, oh, I'm sorry. So you have the self coaching model. So you can actually write out the circumstance here, the thought, your feeling, your actions, and your result. Eventually, when you're doing this on a piece of paper, you can just put CTFAR. You don't, I just put these here for you as you're learning. And then down here, I want you to put that feeling or thought shift. So remember when I walked you through how I wanted to feel unwavering and how my thought was, I have what it takes to protect my peace? That's what you'll put down here. And you can do that in either order. You can put your feeling here, peace or calm or loving or loved or kind, however you want to feel in the world toward yourself, toward others. And so for me, remember, I put unwavering, and that thought that just really solidified that feeling for me was I have what it takes to live peacefully and calmly in this world. So you might want to put that there because that's the thought that's going to guide your feeling and your actions. Or I could have put the thought first and then the feeling there. And you have like 127 million feelings to choose from. I don't know. Maybe there's not that many. But I do know statistically you have over 10,000 thoughts per day. So try to make them good ones. Okay. And then we move down here. Remember, this was that primitive thinking that goes on down here. This is how you have to use the self coaching model. And then down here is where we become deliberate and intentional in how we think and feel and show up. And so that's where you will change that. And you can go back and listen to how I walked you through it in the one that I was doing for you and about my own, and just kind of do some practice there. And like I said, work on it, practice it, see how you want to think and feel differently, see what's available to you, right? Like you have the option, and it's normal to think a lot of the things that you think that are causing you to feel and show up the way you are. That is so normal. But the difference here is that it's optional to believe those things to be true. And so, since it is optional, let's believe new things. Let's think new things that allow us to show up and live the life that we want to for ourselves, for others, so that we can enjoy life to the fullest. Okay. And to stop sabotaging those health and wellness and life goals that we have. So, I know you can do it. And now I want you to go out into the world and reach those goals that I know you can. Have a great day.